All right, today we're going to dive into something pretty fascinating. Your brain's own secret weapons. We're talking about psychological defense mechanisms. These are the unconscious tricks our minds play to protect us from feeling anxious or facing uncomfortable truths. So let's get into it.
Have you ever had a terrible day at work and then come home and just snapped at someone you love for no real reason? Or have you ever noticed a flaw in somebody else that just bothers you a little too much, maybe because it feels a bit familiar? Well, it turns out these aren't just random quirks.
The answer, according to psychoanalytic theory, is all about a powerful, hidden toolkit your mind is using every single day without you even realizing it. These are your ego's secret weapons, defense mechanisms.
But, before we can really understand the weapons, we have to understand the war they're being used in. And believe it or not, that war is happening inside your own head, between three major players: the id, the ego, and the superego. You've probably seen this before, right? The classic iceberg metaphor for the mind. The tiny little tip that you see above the water, that's our conscious mind. But the vast, massive part hidden underneath, that's the preconscious and the unconscious. And that's where all the action really is. So way down in those deep, unconscious waters, we've got the id. The easiest way to think about the id is to picture a brand new baby. It is pure, raw impulse. It runs on what's called the pleasure principle, and it wants what it wants, which is usually driven by basic urges like sex and aggression, and it wants it right now. No patience, no logic, just need.
Now, in the other corner, you have the complete opposite, the superego. This is basically your internalized parent. It's your conscience. It's built up from all the rules and morals you learn from your family and from society. The superego is obsessed with what's right and what's wrong, and it's constantly trying to shut down the id's wild demands.
And guess who's caught in the middle of this constant tug of war? That's the ego. The ego is the rational, reality-based part of you. It has this incredibly difficult, almost impossible job. It has to somehow satisfy the id's screaming demands, but in a way that's actually realistic and won't make the super strict superego have a meltdown. Talk about a stressful job.
So you've got this constant battle raging inside you 24/7. The id is yelling, "Gimme!" and the superego is yelling, "Absolutely not." This nonstop conflict is the root cause of a feeling we all know way too well: anxiety.
I mean, this image just says it all, doesn't it? It shows the pressure cooker the ego is living in. It's getting hit from three sides at once. You've got raw, impulsive desires bubbling up from the id, you've got the judgmental rules coming down from the superego, and then you've got, the actual real world to deal with. It's a miracle it holds it together at all. So here's the absolute key to this whole thing. That feeling of anxiety, that's actually a signal from your ego that it's starting to lose control of the battle. It's a distress flare, and when that flare goes up, the ego knows it needs to defend itself, and fast. So to handle all this anxiety, the ego reaches into its special toolkit. This toolkit is filled with defense mechanisms. They're basically unconscious strategies the ego uses to reduce stress, usually by twisting reality just a little bit. Let's look at a few of the most common ones. First up is what many consider to be the healthiest, most mature defense of them all: sublimation. This is where you take an impulse that could be a problem, like aggression, and you actually channel that energy into something positive and productive. These examples are perfect. Instead of getting into bar fights, an aggressive person might pour all that energy into becoming an amazing boxer. Or an unsettling impulse to cut things might get transformed into the incredible, life-saving skill of a surgeon. See? The impulse isn't denied, it just redirected into something awesome. Okay, next is one you've probably seen a million times: projection. This is the ultimate "it's not me, it's you" defense. Instead of dealing with your own uncomfortable feelings, your mind just kind of plops them onto someone else. All of a sudden, I'm not the one who's angry, you're the one who's angry at me. This is a really clear example. Imagine someone just can't consciously handle their own feelings of hatred for their father. It's too painful, too unacceptable. So, their ego does a quick flip. The thought, "I hate my father," becomes the much easier thing to deal with. My father hates me. The internal anxiety is gone, but the cost is a distorted view of reality. Now this one is seriously fascinating. It's called reaction formation. This is where the ego deals with a scary impulse by going hard in the complete opposite direction. It's like a massive overcompensation. And this example is so powerful. Someone who secretly has desires that their superego says are absolutely forbidden might just become the loudest, most passionate public critic of that very thing.
By attacking it on the outside, they're really just protecting themselves from the battle going on inside.
So, by now you're probably asking, are these things good or bad? Helpful or harmful? Well, it's not quite that black and white. A psychiatrist named George Valiant actually created a hierarchy, sorting them into 4 different levels, from the most healthy to the least.
Okay, so Valiant's hierarchy makes this way easier to understand. Right at the top, level 4, you have the mature defenses. These are the good ones, like sublimation. They're the healthiest ways to cope. As we go down the list, though, the defenses get more and more problematic. You have immature defenses like projection, and neurotic ones like the reaction formation we just talked about, and way down at the bottom are psychotic defenses like straight-up denial of reality. The main thing to remember is this: the higher the level, the healthier the coping strategy. So after all of this, what's the big takeaway? I think it's that defense mechanisms are a complete double-edged sword. On one hand, they're absolutely essential for our psychological survival, but on the other, they come with a price.
The best way to think about them is as a psychological shield. When something painful or shocking happens, this shield can pop up automatically to absorb the initial blow, giving you a second to breathe and process what's happening.
And this, right here, is the most crucial difference. Used in a healthy way, a defense mechanism is a temporary shield that protects you from immediate pain. But when it's overused, it stops being a shield and it becomes a permanent wall. A wall that doesn't just block out the bad stuff, but also separates you from your own true feelings and from reality itself.
The truth is, we all have these shields. They are an unconscious, fundamental part of what makes us human, and they help us get through the day. But that leaves us with one last, really important question we should probably ask ourselves. Your defenses are there to protect you, for sure. But what are they hiding?